This is lesson 1.6, comparing numbers. If you could please get out your notebooks and copy down the title of the lesson, we will get started taking notes. Okay, today we're going to talk about opposites, and the opposite of a number is if it's positive, then it becomes negative, and if it's negative, it becomes positive. So the opposite of negative 12 is right here on the number line, and you can see that it's 12 units away from 0. So that means the opposite of it is going to be 12 units away from 0, which would make that number positive 12. So the opposite of negative 12 is positive 12. And the reason for that is because they are both 12 units from 0, but in the opposite direction. So we want to find the opposite of each number. So the opposite of negative 8, here's negative 8, it is 8 units away from 0. So the opposite of negative 8 is going to be positive 8. The opposite of 13 is going to be negative 13, and the opposite of negative 22 is going to be 22. So if it's negative, you change it to a positive, and if it's positive, you change it to a negative. Absolute value. This is a new term for you, so I need you to write down the definition of absolute value. And what absolute value means is it's the distance from 0 on the number line, or how far a number is away from 0 on the number line. So you write absolute value of negative 3 as these lines right here mean the absolute value of negative 3. So another way we could write it is the absolute value of negative 5, or you could put a positive number in there, the absolute value of 12. And it's just how far away that number is from 0 on the number line. So let's look at this example here, and I want you to copy this in your notes. We need to find the absolute value of negative 3 and 3. So it's just how far is the number inside the absolute value away from 0. So if we take the absolute value of negative 3, here's negative 3 right here. How far away is it from 0? It's 1, 2, 3 units. So, whoops, that's supposed to be a straight line. The absolute value of negative 3 is just 3. So if we have the absolute value of 3, how far away is that from 0 on the number line? So we start here and we move 1, 2, 3. So it's still 3 units. Distance, we have to remember, is always going to be positive. So when you find the absolute value, it's always going to be a positive number. So why don't you try this one right here, number 2, the quick check. Find the absolute value of negative 8. Pause the video, and when you're ready, we will begin. All right, here is negative 8 on the number line, and we're going to see how many units it is from 0. So we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 units away. So the absolute value of negative 8 is going to be positive 8. Comparing integers. So we're going to compare integers using the less than, equal to, or greater than symbol. And an easy way to compare integers is to actually graph them on the number line. So if we want to compare the integers negative 7 and 1, we're going to graph them on the number line. And you can see this here. We graph negative 7 there, and then they graph 1 here. So the number line increases in value as you move to the right. So as you move to the right, the numbers get bigger, and as you move to the left, the numbers get smaller. So when we write this, we can say -7 is smaller than, or we're going to use the less than symbol, which looks like that, is smaller than 1. So why don't you try the quick check here and see what you get. Pause the video and turn it back on once you've written your inequality or your equation. All right, here we go. We graph -8, which is here, and then we graph -2, which is here. So -8 is farther to the left, so that means that -8 is less than -2. You could also write it as -2 is greater than -8. Either one of those answers is fine. So now we're going to talk about ordering integers, or putting numbers in order from least to greatest. So we're going to look at the temperatures of these cities in Alaska. So we have Nome, Alaska, which is -10 degrees. We have Fairbanks, which is -27. So I'm going to just write these down. -10. -27, Anchorage, which is -5, Valdez, which is 8 degrees, Juneau, which is 11 degrees, and then Kodiak, which is 10. And you can see where these points are graphed here on this number line, and we can write them in order from coldest to warmest. So the coldest city is Fairbanks, because that's -27 degrees, and then Nome, which is -10, Anchorage, which is -5, which we find right here, and then this here is Valdez, Kodiak, and Juneau. So we just take the numbers and we write them from the smallest to the largest, and we have to match them up with the cities that are listed over here. So I want you to try this. Order the numbers 3, -1, -4, and 2 from least to greatest. All right, let's see how you did. So first I'm going to graph 3, which is here, and then -1, which is here, and then -4 and 2. And I'm going to write the numbers in order from, look at the directions, least to greatest. So the smallest number is -4, then -1, then 2, and then 3. That's all for today. Thank you for taking notes. Be sure to bring your notes to class tomorrow to get checked in.